In 1615, in a remote mountain dojo in feudal Japan, a master inquired his student a question that would transform everything. "Takeshi, if you confront 10 enemies with your sword, how many can you eliminate?" The young samurai answered confidently, "All 10, master." The old master shook his head. "Incorrect. You will eliminate none, because the moment you contemplate about eliminating 10, you have already lost to the first." This is the paradox every samurai had to solve. True victory comes not from action, but from presence. Not from technique, but from consciousness. Not from the sword in your hand, but from the silence in your soul. The samurai who understood this became legends. Those who didn't became corpses. And here's what nobody explains you. This principle isn't about fighting. It's about living. Right now you're fighting 10 battles: work, relationships, health, purpose. And you're losing all of them for the same reason that samurai expired on battlefields 400 years ago. You're everywhere except here. You're contemplating about 10 enemies instead of confronting the one in front of you. The question is, are you prepared to learn what the samurai knew? Chapter 1. The Awakening. Takeshi's Shame. The year is 1615. Feudal Japan. The Tokugawa shogunate has unified the country after centuries of civil war, but in the mountains of Hida province, one dojo still trains warriors in the old manner. Takeshi was 17 years old when shame found him. He'd been training in the dojo for 5 years, sword practice, meditation, studying the classics. He could execute kata perfectly. His strikes were fast, precise, technically flawless. But he possessed a challenge that no amount of practice could fix: fear. During sparring sessions with bokken, wooden practice swords, Takeshi's consciousness would race. What if I get hit? What if I lose? What if the master observes my weakness? His physical body would tense, his breathing would become shallow, his perfect technique would crumble. The other students noticed. Whispers in the dojo. Takeshi possesses beneficial form but no spirit. He contemplates too much. He'll never pass the test. The test. The final examination that separated students from samurai. A genuine duel with a genuine sword against a master. Not to the death, but to the moment where death becomes inevitable. Most students took this test at 18. Takeshi was already 17 and a half, and his master, Yamamoto Sensei, hadn't even mentioned it. One evening after training, Takeshi approached his master. The old man sat in seiza, formal kneeling position, in front of the dojo shrine, eyes closed in meditation. Takeshi knelt and waited. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Finally, Yamamoto Sensei opened his eyes. "Master," Takeshi articulated, voice trembling slightly, "when will I be prepared for the test?" The master studied him. Those eyes had observed 100 battles, trained 1,000 students. They observed everything. "You are technically prepared now," Yamamoto Sensei articulated. "But technically prepared means nothing." "I don't understand, master." "Stand up. Take your sword." Takeshi stood, gripped his bokken. "Now strike me." Takeshi raised his sword, but his hands shook. His master was unarmed, kneeling. This was the perfect opening. But something discontinued him. I can't, master." "Why not?" "Because you're my master. It would be disrespectful." Yamamoto Sensei's face hardened. "Respect? No. You lie to yourself. The truth is you're afraid. Afraid of what happens after the strike. Afraid of my reaction. Afraid of failure. Your consciousness is in 10 places, except the one that matters. Here, now, this moment." The words hit Takeshi like physical blows. "Until you learn to be present, you will never be samurai. You will be a corpse with beneficial technique. Go. Meditate on this." That night, Takeshi couldn't sleep. He sat in his small chamber, staring at the moonlight through the window. He'd dedicated 5 years to becoming samurai. 5 years of sacrifice, pain, discipline. And he was failing. Not because of his physical body, but because of his consciousness. He remembered the master's words. Your consciousness is in 10 places. It was true. During every fight, Takeshi was contemplating about the outcome, about appearing beneficial, about not failing, about everything except the actual moment of combat. As dawn broke, Takeshi made a decision. He would find the answer. whatever it took. Chapter 2. The Principle. Shoshin, Beginner's Mind. The subsequent morning, Yamamoto Sensei announced, "Today, no sword practice. Today, we clean." The students groaned internally but showed nothing. Discipline. For the entire day, they swept the dojo, washed the floors, cleaned the weapons, organized the shrine. Manual labor, mindless function, or so Takeshi contemplated. He swept the same wooden floor he'd swept hundreds of occasions previously. His consciousness wandered. This is pointless. I should be training. The test is coming. I require improving my technique, not wasting time cleaning. Then he noticed something. The master was sweeping too, but he swept differently. Each stroke of the broom was deliberate, focused, complete. When he swept left, he was fully sweeping left. When he swept right, he was fully sweeping right. There was a quality to his movement, a presence that transformed the mundane task into something almost sacred. Takeshi observed, transfixed. After the cleaning ended, the master called him over. "What did you learn today, Takeshi?" Takeshi hesitated. "That the dojo must be kept clean?" Yamamoto Sensei smiled. "Incorrect. Come with me." They walked to a small meditation hall behind the main dojo. Inside, a single scroll hung on the wall, 2 characters in elegant calligraphy. "Shoshin," the master articulated. "Beginner's consciousness. Do you understand what this means? To approach everything like a beginner? Deeper. When a beginner picks up a sword for the first occasion, what is in his consciousness?" Takeshi contemplated. "Curiosity. Focus on learning." "Yes. And what else?" "Nothing else. Just the sword. Just that moment." "Exactly. The beginner's consciousness is empty of expectation, empty of fear, empty of everywhere except here. The beginner doesn't contemplate about being the optimal swordsman. He contemplates only about this grip, this stance, this swing." The master sat in Seiza. Takeshi followed. "Now explain me, Takeshi. When you sweep the floor, where is your consciousness?" Takeshi experienced shame rise. Everywhere else. Contemplating about training, about the test, about the future. "And when you fight with Bakken?" "The same. Contemplating about outcomes, about appearing beneficial, about not failing." "So you are never actually present for anything. You sweep while contemplating about swords. You practice swords while contemplating about tests. You are always one step away from reality. This is why you fail." The master's words were gentle but devastating. The samurai's greatest weapon is not the katana. It is presence. Zanshin, remaining awareness. Fudoshin, immovable consciousness. Heijoshin, ordinary consciousness. All of these point to the same truth. Be here now, completely. He gestured to the scroll. Shoshin is the foundation. Empty your consciousness of 10,000 thoughts. Confront only what is in front of you. Takeshi stared at the characters. Shoshin, beginner's consciousness. "Master, how do I practice this?" Yamamoto Sensei stood. "Starting tomorrow, you will train differently. Every task you accomplish, eating, walking, sweeping, sword practice, you will accomplish with complete attention. When you consume, you consume. When you walk, you walk. When you swing your sword, there is only the sword. Nothing else exists. For how long? Until you understand. Maybe 1 month, maybe 1 year, maybe never. It depends on you." That night, Takeshi began. He sat for meditation, but instead of attempting to achieve anything, he simply sat, breathing, present. Thoughts arose. Am I accomplishing this correctly? Is this functioning? What if I fail? Each occasion he acknowledged the thought and returned to his breath. Here, now. This moment only. It was the hardest thing he'd ever accomplished. If you're beginning to understand how presence could transform your existence the manner it transformed Takeshi's, join the Presence and Purpose community. Subscribe and walk this path with us as we explore the ancient warrior wisdom that builds modern mastery. Chapter 3. The Test. 30 Days of Presence. Week 1. Torture. The first week was torture. Takeshi's consciousness rebelled against presence. Every activity experienced agonizingly slow. Consuming breakfast became an eternity. Walking to the training hall experienced like wading through mud. His consciousness screamed, "This is pointless. You're wasting time. Everyone else is getting superior while you're just being present." But he continued, because the master had given him a path, and Takeshi would follow it to the conclusion. Week 2. The Shift. During morning meditation, Takeshi experienced something strange. For just a few seconds, the constant chatter in his consciousness discontinued. Not because he forced it, it just discontinued. In that gap of silence, he heard the wind in the trees outside, the creaking of the wooden building, his ota, in heartbeat. It experienced like waking up from a dream, like he'd been asleep his entire existence, and suddenly opened his eyes for the first occasion. The moment passed. The mental chatter returned. But now Takeshi knew. Silence was achievable. Presence was genuine. He intensified his practice. When sweeping, he became sweeping. The movement of the broom, the sound of bristles on wood, the sensation in his arms. That was his entire universe. When consuming, he tasted every grain of rice, chewed slowly, experienced the simple act of nourishment. When walking, each step was complete, heel to toe, weight shifting, balance adjusting. The other students contemplated he'd gone insane. Takeshi walks like an old man now. He consumes like a monk. Has he surrendered on becoming samurai? But the master observed, articulated nothing, waited. Week 3, the real test, sparring session. Takeshi confronted another student, a talented fighter named Kenji, who had already passed his final examination. They both held Bakken. Old Takeshi would have been contemplating, Kenji is superior than me. What if I lose in front of everyone? I require impressing the master. New Takeshi simply stood, present, aware. Kenji attacked, a fast overhead strike, and something miraculous happened. Takeshi's physical body moved without contemplating. He sidestepped, deflected, countered, all in one fluid motion. No thought, no hesitation, pure response. Kenji stumbled back, shocked. They reset, fought again. This occasion, Takeshi wasn't fighting Kenji. He was simply present with the moment. When Kenji moved, Takeshi responded, not from technique stored in memory, but from immediate awareness. It was like the fight was moving through him, not by him. The match ended. Kenji bowed deeply. That was different. You've transformed. Takeshi bowed back, articulating nothing. But inside, understanding was dawning. Presence wasn't just a meditation practice, it was the source of all warrior power. When you're fully present, you don't react from fear or thought, you respond from awareness. And awareness is always faster, always more appropriate, always more powerful than contemplating. That evening, the master called him over. Tomorrow, Yamamoto Sensei articulated, you will confront your final test. Takeshi experienced fear rise, then let it pass. Here, now, only this moment. Yes, master, I'm prepared. For the first occasion in 5 years, it was true. Chapter 4, Warrior Psychology, the Science of Presence. Before we continue to Takeshi's story, let's understand what was actually happening in his consciousness. Modern neuroscience has discovered something the samurai knew 400 years ago. Presence is a trainable skill that physically transforms your brain structure. When Takeshi practiced being present, he was deactivating his default mode network, DMN, the brain network responsible for mind-wandering, self-referential contemplating, and anxiety about past and future. Every occasion he brought his attention back to the present moment, he was strengthening his prefrontal cortex, the region controlling attention, emotional regulation, and executive function. This isn't mysticism. This is measurable brain transformation. Studies on meditation, practitioners demonstrate increased gray matter density in dimensions controlling attention and decreased activity in dimensions controlling fear response and anxiety. The samurai didn't possess MRI machines, but they understood the principle perfectly. Miyamoto Musashi's wisdom. Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman in Japanese history, wrote in the Book of Five Rings, In strategy, it is important to observe distant things as if they were close and to take a distanced view of close things. This is presence, the ability to be here while maintaining perspective, the ability to confront immediate danger without losing composure. Takuan Soho's teaching. Takuan Soho, the Zen master who advised many samurai, explained it this manner. The consciousness must always be in the state of flowing, for when it discontinues anywhere, that means the flow is interrupted, and it is this interruption that is injurious to the well-being of the consciousness. Modern psychology calls this flow state. The samurai called it Mushin, no consciousness. The deeper layer. When Takeshi fought Kenji while fully present, his amygdala, the brain's fear center, possessed less control over his responses. His physical body accessed trained movements without the interference of conscious thought. This is what the samurai meant by no consciousness. It doesn't mean possessing no thoughts. It means thoughts don't control you. The Hagakure, a practical guide to samurai behavior, states, meditation on inevitable death should be performed daily. Every day, when one's physical body and consciousness are at peace, one should meditate upon being ripped apart by arrows, rifles, spears, and swords. This sounds morbid, but it's brilliant psychology. By fully accepting death, the ultimate fear, the samurai freed themselves from fear's paralysis. They understood, you cannot control outcomes. You can only control presence. When you're fully present, fear doesn't disappear, but it no longer controls you. You experience it, acknowledge it, and act anyway. This is Fudoshin, the immovable consciousness, not unmoved by emotion, unmoved by the requirement to react to emotion. Takeshi had discovered this, not through reading about it, but through living it, through 30 days of choosing presence over distraction, awareness over thought, being over becoming. Now he would confront the ultimate test. If this journey into feudal Japan is resonating with you, if you're prepared to learn the samurai practices that create unshakable presence, subscribe to this channel. We're constructing a community of warriors who choose awareness over distraction, presence over performance. Chapter 5. The First Transformation. The Final Examination. Dawn. The Dojo Courtyard. Takeshi stood in hakama and gi, wooden sword in hand. Across from him, Yamamoto Sensei, holding a genuine katana. Yes, a genuine sword, sharpened steel. This was the tradition. The student uses wood, the master uses steel. The difference in weapons equals the difference in skill. If the master wanted, one strike would conclude Takeshi's existence. Around the courtyard, other students and masters from neighboring dojos observed. This was formal, official. There would be witnesses to either Takeshi's success or his failure. Yamamoto Sensei spoke, voice carrying across the silent courtyard. Takeshi has trained for 5 years. Today he confronts the test, not to defeat me, that is impossible, but to demonstrate warrior spirit, to demonstrate presence under pressure, to prove he is samurai. The old master settled into kamae, fighting stance. The katana gleamed in the morning sun. Takeshi's heart pounded. His hands wanted to shake. Old Takeshi would have been drowning in thought's wreaths. Now, what if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I expire? What if... But new Takeshi took a breath, experienced his feet on the ground, heard the wind in the bamboo, observed his master's stance. Here, now, only this. The fight. The master moved, not a full attack, a testing strike, fast, controlled, aimed at Takeshi's shoulder. Takeshi's physical body responded. No thought, no plan, just presence. He sidestepped. The katana whispered past his ear. He countered with bokken, not attempting to hit, just responding to the opening. The master deflected, reset. They circled. Another attack, faster this occasion. A combination, high strike, low sweep. Takeshi flowed, physical body moving before consciousness could interfere. Block, dodge, counter. The katana never touched him. Around the courtyard, murmurs. This was unusual. Most students spent the entire test defending desperately. Takeshi was responding, adapting, present. The master increased intensity, genuine speed now, the category of speed that eliminates in actual combat. And here's what happened. Takeshi discontinued attempting to win, discontinued attempting to impress, discontinued attempting at all. He simply was, present with each moment, each movement, each breath. The fight became a dance. The master would strike. Takeshi would respond, not from technique, but from immediate awareness. Zanshin, remaining awareness. Even after blocking, Takeshi stayed alert. Even after countering, he was prepared for the subsequent moment. Minutes passed. In combat, an eternity. Then the master accomplished something unexpected. He created an opening, a clear, obvious gap in his defense. Most students would attack immediately, desperate to score a point. Takeshi observed it, recognized it, didn't take it. Because presence revealed the truth. It was a trap, an invitation to overcommit. He waited. The master observed. Understanding passed between them. Then Yamamoto Sensei lowered his katana, stepped back, bowed deeply. Enough, you have passed. Silence. Then applause from the observing masters. Takeshi bowed, trembling now that the test was over. Not from fear, from the release of intensity. Later, in private, the master explained, Takeshi, 5 years ago you came here wanting to be the optimal swordsman. Today you became something superior. You became present. The sword is just a tool. Presence is the weapon. When you didn't take that opening, you demonstrated wisdom. The young warrior attempts to win every exchange. The genuine warrior knows some victories are defeats in disguise. Takeshi listened, but something was stirring inside him. A question. Master, I've passed the test. I'm officially samurai now. But I experience like this is just the beginning, not the conclusion. Yamamoto Sensei smiled. Yes. This is the first transformation, from student to samurai. But there is a second transformation, from samurai to master. And for that, you must depart this dojo. Takeshi's eyes widened. Depart? Yes. I am sending you to the temple on Mount Kōya. There you will train with the monks for 1 year. Not in swordsmanship, in pure presence, in Zen meditation. Because the subsequent level of mastery isn't about fighting superior, it's about transcending the requirement to fight at all. Takeshi contemplated he'd learned presence, but in the mountains with the Zen monks, he would discover that what he'd learned was just the shadow of genuine awareness. The genuine training was about to begin. Chapter 6. Deep Training. Arc. 1 year on Mount Kōya, Mount Kōya, sacred mountain, home to one of Japan's oldest Zen monasteries. Takeshi arrived with his swords, his warrior's pride, Ichuishos, his samurai title. The head monk, Master Hakuin, looked at him with eyes that had witnessed 60 years of meditation. Depart your swords at the gate. You won't require them here. But master, I am samurai. Here you are beginner. Here you learn to sit. The hardest year, and so began the hardest year of Takeshi's existence. No sword practice, no combat training, nothing he associated with being warrior. Instead, sitting meditation. Hours upon hours of zazen. Sitting, just sitting, observing the consciousness, being present. The first month was psychological warfare. Takeshi's consciousness screamed, "This is pointless. You're a trained samurai. You should be perfecting your technique, not sitting like a statue." His legs cramped, his back ached. His consciousness raced with thoughts, plans, memories, anxieties. Master Hakuin would walk between the meditating students carrying a wooden stick. When he observed someone's consciousness had wandered, visible through posture, breathing, subtle movements, he would strike their shoulder, not hard, just enough to snap attention back. Takeshi got struck substantial, but he persisted, because somewhere deep inside he understood, the master at the dojo had sent him here for a reason. Month 2, the breakthrough. During one meditation session, Takeshi's consciousness was particularly chaotic. Thoughts everywhere, anxiety about wasting time, frustration with lack of progress. Then Master Hakuin rang a bell. Time for walking meditation. The students stood, began walking in a slow circle around the meditation hall. 1 step per breath. heel to toe, complete awareness. And in that moment, something clicked. Takeshi recognized, presence isn't about stopping thoughts, it's about not being controlled by them. Thoughts would always come. The question was, do you chase them, or do you let them pass like clouds? He began observing his thoughts without engaging. Oh, there's anxiety about my training. Interesting, it's just a thought. And he'd return to his breath, to the sensation of walking, to here, now. The thoughts didn't discontinue, but they lost their power. Months, 3 to 6. Deepening, the monastery routine became his world. Ampipada 2 a.m. Wake, meditation, simple breakfast in silence. Work meditation, chopping wood, hauling water, tending gardens, more meditation, study of sutras, evening meditation, sleep. Every activity was practiced in presence. When chopping wood, be completely with the axe, the wood, the movement. When consuming, taste every grain of rice. When reading sutras, absorb each character. Takeshi discovered layers of presence he'd never imagined. Surface presence, paying attention to the task. Deeper presence, experiencing the space between thoughts. Even deeper, recognizing the awareness that's always there beneath all thoughts and feelings. The Zen masters called this original mind or Buddha nature, the unchanging awareness that witnesses everything but is never disturbed by anything. Month 7, the second test. Master Hakuin called Takeshi to his quarters. You've been here 6 months. You've learned to sit, to be present in stillness. Now you must learn presence in chaos. He handed Takeshi a letter. There's a village 3 days' walk from here. Bandits have been terrorizing them. The village headman has requested assistance. You will go alone. Handle this situation, then return. Takeshi experienced old patterns activate, the samurai consciousness. Finally, a chance to use my skills. I'll demonstrate them what a trained warrior can accomplish. But underneath that, new awareness. The ego wanting to prove itself. Interesting. He bowed. Yes, master. As he prepared to depart, Master Hakuin added, remember, Takeshi, the goal is not to defeat bandits. The goal is to maintain presence. Whatever happens, stay here now. That is your genuine test. Takeshi walked for 3 days through mountain paths, each step a meditation, each breath a return to presence. He arrived at the village at sunset. Chapter 7. The final confrontation. The bandit leader. The village was small, maybe 30 families. They lived in fear. The headman explained, a group of ronin, masterless samurai, have been taking our food, our money. We're farmers, not warriors. We can't fight them. How many? Takeshi inquired. 5, led by a man named Katsuro. He was once a respected samurai, but after his lord was eliminated, he turned to banditry. That night Takeshi sat in meditation. Tomorrow he would confront the bandits. 5 trained warriors against 1. Old Takeshi would be terrified, planning strategy, worrying about death. New Takeshi sat with whatever arose. Fear came. He acknowledged it. Yes, fear is present. That's natural. But he didn't let it control him. He remembered his training. Presence. Here. Now. The outcome doesn't matter. Only this moment matters. Dawn. The bandits arrived. 5 men, rough and dangerous, led by Katsuro, a tall man with scars and hard eyes. Takeshi walked out to meet them, unarmed. The bandits laughed. The village hired a bodyguard? 1 samurai? Boy, go home before you get hurt. Takeshi stood in perfect presence, grounded, aware, still. Katsuro discontinued laughing. Something in Takeshi's stillness made him uneasy. You're different from the usual village defenders. Who trained you? Yamamoto Sensei and Master Hakuin. Katsuro's eyes widened slightly. He recognized those names. Masters of masters. So you contemplate you can discontinue us? Takeshi smiled gently. I'm not here to discontinue you. I'm here to articulate it. The you, as one samurai to another. This confused the bandits. Where was the challenge? The bravado? The threat? Takeshi continued, voice calm and present. Katsuro-san, you were once a respected warrior. You served with honor. What happened to bring you to this? For a moment something flickered in the bandit leader's eyes. Pain. Loss. My lord was eliminated. My honor expired with him. This, He gestured to the village. This is all that's remaining. No, Takeshi articulated. Your honor isn't gone. It's just sleeping. Beneath the pain, beneath the anger, it's still there. The other bandits shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't how these confrontations usually went. Takeshi stepped closer, completely undefended, completely present. I understand the Bushido code requires you to serve a lord. But what if there's a higher lord than any daimyo? What if you could serve something that can never be eliminated, never be taken away? And what is that? Katsuro inquired, hand on his sword but not drawing. Presence, awareness, the part of you that remains when everything else is gone. Master Hakuin taught me, you can lose your lord, your lands, your existence, but you cannot lose your genuine nature. Silence hung in the morning air. Katsuro stared at this strange young samurai who confronted 5 armed men with nothing but words and presence. You're either very brave or very foolish. Takeshi smiled. Perhaps both. But I'm also very present. And in this moment, I'm offering you a choice. Continue this path of fear and violence, or remember who you genuinely are. One of the other bandits sneered. Katsuro, why are we listening to this? Let me cut him down. He drew his sword, rushed forward. And Takeshi didn't move, completely still, completely present. No fear, no aggression, just awareness. The bandit's sword discontinued an inch from Takeshi's throat. He couldn't accomplish it. Something in Takeshi's presence, in the absolute absence of fear or resistance, made violence impossible. The bandit stumbled back, confused. Katsuro observed all this. Then he accomplished something unexpected. He knelt, bowed his head. Forgive me, I forgot. I forgot what it means to be samurai. The other bandits looked at their leader in shock. Katsuro stood. We're departing, and we won't return. He looked at Takeshi. Where is this Master Hakuin? Mount Kōya. Perhaps I'll visit him, if he'll accept a broken man. Takeshi bowed. There are no broken men, only men who've forgotten their wholeness. The bandits departed. The village was safe, not through violence, through presence. Takeshi returns to Mount Kōya. Master Hakuin was waiting. Explain me what happened. Takeshi recounted the story. The master listened, nodding. And what did you learn? Takeshi paused. Then understanding flooded through him. I learned that presence is the ultimate weapon. Not because it defeats enemies, because it transforms them. When you're fully present, completely grounded in awareness, you become a mirror, and individuals observe themselves reflected back. Katsuro observed his genuine nature in my stillness. The bandit who attacked me observed the futility of violence in my lack of resistance. Presence doesn't fight. It doesn't require to. It simply is. And that isness is more powerful than any sword. Master Hakuin smiled. Yes, this is the secret the greatest warriors discover. The ultimate victory is not defeating others. It's transcending the requirement for conflict altogether. Miyamoto Musashi won 60 duels. But at the conclusion of his existence, what did he write? Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road. He wasn't discussing defeating 1,000 enemies. He was discussing presence in each step. The beginner samurai contemplates, how can I win this fight? The advanced samurai contemplates, how can I be present in this fight? The master samurai recognizes, when you're genuinely present, there is no fight. This is the final teaching. Shoshin, beginner's consciousness, isn't just about learning. It's about observing every moment fresh, new, complete in itself. Zanshin, remaining awareness, isn't just about staying alert after combat. It's about understanding that existence is combat, and you must remain aware always. Fudoshin, immovable consciousness, isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about being so rooted in presence that nothing external can shake your internal peace. You've learned these principles through your sword, but now you understand they apply to everything, every conversation, every meal, every breath. This is what it means to be genuinely samurai, not a warrior who eliminates, but a warrior who brings existence through presence. Takeshi bowed deeply. Thank you, Master, for everything. Your training here is complete. Where will you go now? Takeshi had been contemplating about this. Back to Yamamoto Sensei's dojo, not as a student, as a teacher, to pass on what I've learned. Beneficial. The circle completes. Student becomes master. Master becomes student. This is the manner. The samurai lesson, 10 years later. Takeshi runs the dojo now. Yamamoto Sensei retired to a quiet hermitage. A new student arrives, young, eager, technically gifted, but anxious. Reminds Takeshi of himself. Master Takeshi, I want to become the greatest swordsman in Japan. Takeshi smiles. He's heard this previously. He articulated it himself once. Come, sit with me. They sit in Seiza before the shrine. The same shrine where Yamamoto Sensei taught Takeshi about Shoshin all those years ago. Do you observe this scroll? Takeshi points to the characters. Shoshin. Yes, master. What does it articulate? Shoshin. Beginner's consciousness. And what does that mean to you? The young student contemplates. To approach training with humility? Yes, and more. It means to be present for this moment. Not the moment when you're the greatest swordsman. This moment, here, now. Because I'll explain you a secret. There is no moment when you become the greatest. There is only this moment, and the subsequent, and the subsequent. If you can be fully present for each one, you'll discover something the greatest swordsmen understand. The sword is just a tool. Presence is the weapon, and presence doesn't make you the greatest warrior. It makes you free. The young student appears confused, exactly as Takeshi once accomplished. I don't understand, master. You will, with time and practice. Now before we begin sword training, we'll initiate with something else. What's that? Takeshi hands him a broom. Sweeping, and when you sweep, just sweep. Be completely present with the broom, the floor, the movement. Can you accomplish that? The student appears disappointed but nods. Yes, master. Takeshi observes him begin, observes the consciousness wandering, the impatience, the desire to be accomplishing something important. He observes himself 10 years ago, and he smiles. The cycle continues. The teaching passes on, not through lectures, through presence, through example, through the 1,000 small moments of being completely here, now. This is the manner of the samurai. Not violence, presence, not domination, awareness, not achieving, being. The path of the samurai. The path of the samurai isn't about the sword, it's about presence, about being fully here, fully alive, fully aware in each moment. If you're prepared to begin this journey, to train in the ancient practices that create modern warriors, join us. Subscribe, train, transform, walk with presence, live with purpose, become unshakable. See you in the subsequent lesson, warrior.